when someone succeeds at something as glorious in their mind as killing the President of the United States, they want to let the world know that, that they did it.
I don't know what this is all about.
Lee Harvey Oswald never did.
I'm just a patsy.
That odd statement by Oswald, "I'm just a patsy," would become the springboard for numerous conspiracy theories surrounding the assassination of President Kennedy. Was Oswald just a fall guy? A small cog in a much larger operation? Researchers Lamar Waldron and Tom Hartman believe their new evidence of a mafia plot paints a far more sinister picture of events leading up to the assassination.
Are you going to have anything to say, Mr. Genevieve? Are you going to cooperate with the commission?
In 1963, Bobby Kennedy's crusade against organized crime is about to provoke a retaliation he never envisioned.
Oh, you won't tell us anything about using the acid to disfigure a person, ordering someone to kill a man?
Bobby crosses the line when he sets his sights on top mob boss Carlos Marcello of New Orleans.
Marcello was, by all accounts, the chief of chiefs, the godfather among godfathers. And he often said that if 3 people know a secret and 2 of them are dead, there's no problem.
After being subjected to Senate hearings, FBI surveillance, even a deportation to Guatemala, Marcello sneaks back into the U.S., hell-bent on getting rid of Bobby Kennedy. Mob boss Santo Trafficante of Tampa is also in the crosshairs of Bobby Kennedy's crusade. For years, he's been hiding in his other mafia kingdom, Cuba.
Havana was the #1 source of mafia funds before the Castro regime took power and threw the mafia out of the gambling casinos in Havana. It made Las Vegas look like chump change.
In lieu of certain fringe benefits.
With the heat on back in the States, and desperate for a return to the glory days in Havana, the mafia chiefs are more than willing when the CIA comes to them for help with those ongoing attempts to oust Castro. And now that the mobsters know about the secret Kennedy coup plan, AM World, they have the cover they need to kill the president with virtual impunity.
It would be impossible to thoroughly or publicly investigate JFK's assassination without exposing the plan for a coup in Cuba.
If Castro ever got wind of the coup plan, it could lead to another confrontation with the United States, like the Bay of Pigs fiasco and the Cuban Missile Crisis that nearly led to nuclear war. Any assassination attempt by the mob would have to be made before December 1st, the date set for the Kennedys' coup. The perfect scenario: a public place, a tall structure, and an open motorcade. In November 1963, the opportunity presents itself. Not once, but 3 times.
Not only was there a likely conspiracy in Dallas to kill the president, but earlier in Tampa, Florida, and even before that in Chicago.
Mafia sharpshooters would take out the president, but the mob needs someone else to take the fall.
The reason that these 3 godfathers wanted to have a patsy involved in each one of the 3 attempts against John Kennedy in that roughly 2.5-week period there was that they wanted instantly for the attention or for the suspicion to be diverted away from them and toward Cuba.
Through their CIA and law enforcement connections, the mob learns about the men in each city most likely to arouse government suspicion, even be arrested after the president is killed. In Dallas, there's no better fall guy than Lee Harvey Oswald. In Tampa, another pro-Castro supporter, Gilberto Lopez. And in Chicago, a gun-loving ex-Marine, Thomas Arthur Valley.
There was also a Cuba connection. In Valley's background, he had recently been training anti-Castro Cubans.
But only 3 days before the president's visit to Chicago, the mob loses its patsy there. Valley is caught during a traffic stop with a trunkload of rifles and ammunition. He's arrested, questioned, but never charged. The same day, there's another fatal blow to the mob's Chicago plan. Someone tips off the FBI that a team of hitmen is there trying to assassinate the president.
There were supposed to have been 4 men in this particular conspiracy.
Secret Service agent Abraham Bolden is on detail in Chicago when the FBI contacts the field office there about the plan to kill the president. What happens next shocks Bolden.
We were told no paper trail, that all of the files, notebooks, anything pertaining to that particular case had to be turned in to the special agent in charge, and we were told that case never existed.
Kennedy's trip to Chicago is called off at the last minute. The official reason? The president needs to deal with a situation in Vietnam.
This cancellation was so sudden, people were already starting to line up along the motorcade route, but the Kennedys were able to keep a lid on this threat, and so it didn't reach the press at that time.
The assassination threat is never made public. Agent Bolden later tries to contact the Warren Commission on his own. He knows his superiors will be furious.
I think the Secret Service wanted to give one story, and they didn't want to have any conflict by what that they were officially telling the Warren Commission.
But days before he's to testify, Bolden is arrested. He's later convicted for bribery and solicitation on an unrelated counterfeit case. He spends 3 years in jail.
We've gathered a fairly abundant collection of evidence that Bolden was framed, and here's a guy who was really one of the people doing a great noble job and thought he had information that was really going to help, and for this, you know, his life is destroyed.
Why isn't there any mention of this Chicago assassination attempt in the Warren Commission report?
It does show how secret those attempts were, and that the secrecy surrounding those attempts were linked to national security concerns related to the coup plan.
Although the mafia chiefs are frustrated that their first attempt is foiled, the hasty cover-up of the threat gives them confidence to move forward with another assassination attempt only a few weeks later.